Tonight's pin lands us in Chowchilla, California, a small farming town in the heart of Central Valley, better known for its cattle ranches, almond orchards, and rodeos than Sports Dynasty. But in 2015, this little town made history when its high school football team hosted a state championship game right in their own backyard. For a community like Chowchilla, that was more than just a game. It was a once-in-a-lifetime moment. Welcome back, everybody, to Friday Night Lore, where we find a random place in the United States and we talk about the greatest sports moment to ever happen. Sometimes it's going to be a state championship, sometimes it's going to be pro, sometimes you never know what's going to happen, but we do a deep dive, and sometimes the dives are a little deeper and tougher to find, and this is one of those. So we started off with a banger, but this is how we went and did it, so you guys can kind of see the full process. I went to, and shout out to our friends, well, we're hopefully going to be friends sometime, over at hiveword.com. I just said, hey, random, generate a place, and it generated all of these, and I said, with a name like Chowchilla, how could I not pick it? This is where it is. Let's zoom this in. You can see it on the pin. We're going to try our best here, and this is where we're heading on this episode. It randomly brought us to the 2nd Street, which is pretty cool. So, all right, let's go ahead and start with the place itself. It sits in Madera County, about 15 miles northwest of Madera, and just over 30 miles north of a place you probably actually heard of, at least me being an East Coast guy, Fresno. Its name comes from the I'm going to probably butcher this bet, and I do apologize, the Chowchilla tribe, whose name is said to mean murderers or vengeful people, a nod to their fierce reputation as defenders of their land. The fighting spirit would eventually echo on the football field. Founded in the early 20th century, Chowchilla grew with agriculture and railroads. Today, its population hovers around 19 to 20,000 people. It's also home of 2 major prisons, the Central California Women's Facility, which is the largest female prison in the state, and Valley State Prison. For better or worse, those facilities put Chowchilla on the map. But there are 2 big non-sport events that people associate with this town. 1976, Chowchilla was the site of the infamous school bus kidnapping, where 26 children and their driver were abducted and buried alive in a van. Miraculously, they escaped and survived. That case remains one of the most dramatic crimes in California history. And then there's the Chowchilla Western Stampede, a rodeo tradition that's been running since the 1950s, drawing thousands every April to watch bull riding, barrel racing, and calf roping. So yeah, I mean, this is a small town with outsized history, resilience, and grit, which is why the football story we're about to tell felt, well, fitting. Let's travel back about a decade ago to the fall of 2015. The high school football was buzzing. The Chowchilla tribe, as they're called, had put together a strong season and entered the playoffs with confidence. Friday night lights in a town like this aren't just about football. They're about identity. And on December 4th, 2015, Chowchilla took down Washington Union to win the CIF Central Section Division IV Championship. The win was massive. Washington Union has a rich history producing NFL talent like running back Lorenzo Neal. For Chowchilla, this wasn't just another trophy. This was validation. They can hang with the bigger programs. Then next came the SoCal Regional Division for a bowl, December 12th. Their opponent, Los Angeles Fairfax, a big city school with a stacked athletic pedigree. Fairfax had produced basketball legends like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar back when he was a Lou Ellisondora Power Memorial in New York, then transferring through LA schools. Rolling into Little Chowchilla, Fairfax was expected to dominate. But they flipped the script. They controlled the pace. They wore Fairfax down and pulled off a 28-16 victory. That win punched their ticket to the CIF State Championship for the first time ever. And here's the kicker. Not the actual kicker, but Chowchilla was actually chosen to host the state title game. For a farm town in the valley, that was a surreal moment. You don't just get to host state semifinals unless you've earned respect. And on December 19th, 2015, the tribe faced Sierra High of Manteca in the CIF State Division 4A Championship. The stage was set. Bleachers packed, whole town buzzing, banners waving. The game itself was gritty. Defenses, they traded blows. Neither team giving much. Then came the dramatic moment. Chowchilla's Alex Gutierrez powered into the end zone for a late touchdown. Instead of kicking the extra point to tie it, the coach went bold. A 2-point conversion. And they got it. Chowchilla took the lead. The stadium erupted. For a few minutes, it felt like destiny was theirs. But Sierra answered. Late in the fourth, they punched in a score of their own and held on for a 20-15 victory. Just like that, the entire town's dream slipped away. On paper, they finished as the 2015 SoCal Regional Champion and State 4A runner-up. But for the town, that team will always be remembered as legend. They didn't just play football, they carried an entire community onto the state stage. For a few December nights, Chowchilla wasn't just a dot on the map, it was the place in California high school where football was being played. All right, let's throw Chowchilla's big moment on the Beard Laws scoreboard. Why not, right? Legend level, 4.5 out of 10. It was big for the town. It didn't rewrite state history. Chaos factor, let's give it a 5.4 out of 10. That 2-point conversion gamble and late reversal gave us drama, but they're not going to make a movie out of this. It's not kind of at that national level of pure chaos, right? But for hometown glory, our third and final ranking, it's a 7.8 out of 10. I mean, for this town, it was everything. For the rest of the state and the rest of the country, it was just another score on the record book. And let's be honest, a lot of people didn't overly care about it. But that town will never stop talking about it. The final Beard score based on average, we're going to give this story a 5.9 out of 10. So there you have it. The biggest sports moment in the history of Chowchilla, California, in our opinion. It's a small town, a gutsy football team, and one December night when they hosted the entire state. And if you're from this area, we'd love to hear more about it. If I've been pronouncing your town wrong the entire time, I apologize. That is on me. But this is a lot of fun. Hopefully you did enjoy it. And I look forward to all the moments that we're going to create and all of the stories that we're going to listen. And you're probably thinking, where will the map take us next week? Well, I don't know. That's the fun of it. You can drop your guesses in the comments. And I mean, episode 2 is coming up. It's going to be good. And I'd love, again, to hear what your hometown Friday night lore and maybe the map of destiny will land on your town. Because Friday nights, they're not about lights. They are about lore. I'm your host, Beard Laws. We'll be back next week. Take care, everybody.